have access to the Wi-Fi until I was already past the security checkpoint. Third morning, I did the same thing. She rolled her eyes and put the paper to the side. Didn't realize it at the time, but I was informed afterwards if we didn't use the app version, it didn't have a digital record, so they had to save all physical papers in a folder and retain them in their office. The fourth morning, the head of security was at the door, and as soon as I showed the paper, he asked why I was choosing to do the physical paper instead of the app. Didn't want to get too in-depth, but told him it was easier for me to print it out at the end of the prior workday, and these guys do not pay my phone bill, so I was not going to use my personal phone and data to do a redundant survey off the clock every morning. He tried to argue the paper option was really only for the plants and not for the offices, and I was the only person printing them out in lieu of using the app. Told him I did not see where it said plant use only on the form, and if that was the case, HR would need to update the verbiage. Couple of coworkers in the area caught part of the interaction and how the guy was complaining to my boss as soon as he hit the door about 10 minutes later. I filled them in on what I was doing and they decided to follow suit. All 15 of us completed the survey at the end of the day to bring in the following morning. Friday morning arrives. I'm sitting in my car watching as a line forms and everyone has a paper in their hand. Can make out security guard's face. She looks pissed. Finally get out and go to walk in, big crap-eating grin on my face, and say good morning. She doesn't say a word, just does the temperature check and snatches the paper out of my hand. Around first break, I see our HR rep walk into the shop and talk to my boss. He looks over at me and points in my direction. Oh boy. And she walks over and introduces herself. We'll call her HRQB because she looks like she could play for a minor league. Good morning, I'm HRQB with Human Resources. We received a call from the head of security, and they're saying you're giving them printouts of the new health surveys. Do you need help with setting up the app? Oh, no, that's not necessary. I actually already told him it is easier for me to do it at the end of my shift the day prior, instead of doing it on my personal phone in the morning. I don't get very good reception here until I'm on the Wi-Fi, and that's past security. Well, you don't need to be on the Wi-Fi here to complete the survey on the app. You can even do it at home before leaving for work and take a screenshot of the confirmation. That way, you won't have to waste paper, and the security team member at the door won't have to keep it in a folder and drop it off to the office every day. It'll save a lot of time and energy. Well, unfortunately, the company has taken away all of the company-issued phones except for select individuals, and I am not going to do the survey on my personal phone or during non-work hours. I agree, doing the survey every single day is a bit redundant and wasteful, but it isn't my paper and proof is required for me to enter the building. While it is tedious, I'm pretty sure that security is on their phone for 7 out of the 8 hours that they are stationed at the door. Think they can take 2 minutes to walk down the hall to drop off the papers at the office? Pretty sure I could have poked the vein on the side of her head and caused a stroke. I thanked her for her time, and my team lead came to pull me to help with the job and save me. The first few days of the week following, most of my coworkers kept printing out the physical copies, which I thought was hilarious, but it was pretty short-lived. HRQB must have worked harder than she's ever worked in her life, because wouldn't you know it, come that following week, an email came out with a link to a new survey that only had to be completed one time online, and if after that at any point you had flu-like symptoms, tested positive, or were near anyone that tested positive, they held you to the honor system to report it to supervision and HR. OP was told a bunch of times in the comments that it's very illegal for the company to not reimburse you for PPE that is a requirement to perform your job. A simple call to OSHA or filling out the form online would really help in this situation. The big takeaway from this though is that you shouldn't have to install anything on your personal phone for work. If they say you need to install an app and use said app to gain access to the workplace, then they need to provide you with a phone as well. Do me a quick favor, have a look down below the video. If that subscribe button's still red, it means you're not actually subscribed to the KCC channel. Please hit that subscribe button for more daily Reddit stories. Our second story today comes to us from Angelina Mercer. Can't you just take the subway to your destination? Let's jump right in. Hello everyone, I'm so glad I finally have a story for this sub after being a lurker for such a long time. So to set the stage, I live in Istanbul, and us Turks are known for our bad city planning, but Istanbul is extra famous for it. It's regular for us natives of the city to endure complaints about how bad the traffic is, how awfully structured the roads are, and how long it takes to get to literally anywhere, yada yada. from our friends who came from other parts of Anatolia to work or study here. I just want to get that point across for foreigners about how bad Istanbul traffic and road structure is. If you have a car, it is legit normal to have a 2-hour commute home at the very least during rush hour. Anyways, so at my work they provide a service bus because our building is in the outskirts of Istanbul, where they haven't connected a lot of public transportation means yet. This is also a common occurrence for us corporate slave folks of Istanbul. Big companies like these are usually located away from the central parts of the city, and people who live close by take the same service bus, and the bus is pretty crowded. About 20 people who all live in close by towns to each other. Like I said, I want you to understand how bad the city planning is. To get to these central parts of the city from our building in the outskirts would take no longer than 30 minutes, but traveling between the towns and dropping everyone off is the rest of the 1.5 hours. So a Karen joined our bus the other day, and she lives in Taksim apparently, which is a very famous town and is literally connected to every bus, minibus, subway, etc. imaginable. Even you foreigners might have heard of it. She is the only one out of 20 people who lives there, so the bus driver asks her if he can drop her off at a public transportation station that connects to Taksim, which would literally be any station in the entire city. But she refuses and also complains about the bus driver all the way to the higher-ups of the company. And the bus driver gets scolded and disciplined and was told to drop her off at the exact location she wanted to be dropped off at. Cue malicious compliance. Next day, the bus driver replans the route, keeping Taksim in mind. She is right about in the middle of the drop-off order, and I kid you not, it legit takes an extra 2 hours in traffic just to reach Taksim. This is without including dropping off of other people or reaching the city center, mind you. And of course, once you set the route as it is, since it's impossible to get out of traffic, she can't tell the bus driver she changed her mind and go to somewhere else. She can't get off the bus too, she has to wait with everyone else. Or she might get lynched at work the next day if she hops off at this point. Tired workers are even more tired now, and also pissed because they didn't want to suffer in the hell that is Istanbul traffic any more than they already had to. Bus driver insists on dropping her right in front of her doorstep. She finally gets off the bus and everyone is giving her a stink eye, because while she did get off, the rest are gonna have to wait in more traffic to get out of Taksim now. All in all, she wasted at least 3 hours out of everyone's time, including hers. Probably more out of people who are going to be dropped off after her. She now asks to be dropped off at a minibus station at somebody else's drop-off stop. Never complained about it ever again too. So you mean to tell me it's taking 2 hours to go 10 kilometers? You could probably walk it faster than that, although OP did say in one of the comments down below that you don't want to go walking or bicycling anywhere in this city because it's all busy streets and you'd probably get mowed down by a car. Our next story today comes to us from Malix Revan. You want me to cancel all your subscriptions? Yeah, I can do that. Let's jump right in. Sorry if my English is not the greatest, but it's not my native language. I used to work at a call center for one of the biggest teleproviders in our country. Mobile subscriptions, internet, landlines, all that. The call center I worked at was also only for business clients and not private customers. So it was not unusual for a client to have a lot of mobile subscriptions. One thing to note, I am not sure how changing a mobile provider in other countries works, but in my country, you have to get the other company you want to transfer to order the numbers from where you are now to them. You cannot cancel your subscription and then have it transferred. If you cancel your subscription, it stops working right away. If you want to transfer after that, then you need to order a reopening of the subscription on that phone number for it to be able to transfer to the other teleprovider. And the reopening is treated as a new order and a new subscription, so it's an ordeal to go through. Also, and this is important for the story, if you have a debt collection case for an invoice with the teleprovider you are currently at, you will then no longer be able to get new subscriptions with that company until the debt collection is paid in full. Now, on to my story. I get a call in from a customer who had maybe 10 to 15 mobile subscriptions with us, as well as an internet subscription, and apparently they worked with sales. The customer was very angry on the phone. He tells me that they have received a debt collection case from us for an invoice they had not paid, which was true. There was an invoice in our systems that they had not paid, and it had indeed gone to debt collection. He then told me that he knew about the invoice, but had just not bothered to pay it. What did you expect to happen if you didn't pay it? He then proceeded to berate me for sending them a debt collection and demanded that we cancel it immediately. One other thing to note is that none of the people that worked on the floor of the call center have the authority to cancel debt collection cases.